Hi, everyone. Welcome to another Bitly deep dive focusing on custom domains. Let's get started. Quick run through of what today's webinar is going to look like. We're going to start with some introductions so you can know who you're listening to today. We'll then go into quickly what is the Bitly Connections platform so you have a good idea of what our mission is and the Connections platform is as a whole. And then we'll go into what our webinar is really focused on today, and that is custom domains. So we'll give you a definition of what are custom domains and what are the benefits of using one. Then majority of today's webinar is going to be focused on the live demo, where we'll show you how to buy a custom domain, how to configure the domain settings, and then add it to your Bitly account so you can use it for all of your links. After the demo, we'll wrap up with some common questions we receive, as well as some further resources if you'd like to review all the topics we talked about today. So as mentioned, let's do some quick introductions. My name is Maddie Smith. I'm an onboarding manager here at Bitly. I work with all enterprise customers in their early days as being a Bitly partner. And today I will be one of your co-hosts, along with my lovely other co-hosts who I'll pass it to so they can introduce themselves.
Hey, thank you, Maddie. My name is Alex Hancock. I'm a technical writer here at Bitly. I'm primarily responsible for the Bitly Help Center, so support.bitly.com. And I get to spend a lot of time in the product creating those guides and how-to articles. So that's given me a chance to learn a lot about how to do these things. And I'm excited to share a little bit of what I've learned during the demo today.
Awesome. We're excited as well. Great. So again, before we dive into the custom domains, just want to do a quick refresher on what Bitly's mission is. So our mission is to turn every interaction into a catalyst for connections. And how we do that is through the Bitly Connections platform. So for anyone new here, what is the Connections platform? So the goal of it is to seamlessly combine all of our core products. This would include link management, so our short links, QR codes, and a link in bio. We want it all in a single unified space with analytics included and the simplicity that you're familiar with when it comes to Bitly. All of that is available within the Connections platform. Some benefits of using the Connections platform is it allows you to empower your business, encourage business growth, it saves you time, and has everything in one place. So ideally, Bitly is a one-stop shop for all of your sharing needs. Now that we're a little more familiar with the connections as a whole, let's talk about custom domains, which is a feature within the platform. A custom domain, sometimes you might hear it called or referred to as a vanity URL, is a way to create links and include your brand within the short link. So most people are probably familiar with the bit.ly domain. That's the Bitly domain that any user can use if they go into the platform to create a short link. A custom domain would replace bit.ly with a domain of your choosing, allowing you to personalize the link you're sharing. So below, you'll see an example of a link that uses a custom domain and a custom backhalf. Bit.ly.is the custom domain, and what comes after the backslash custom dash domains is the custom backhalf. This creates what we call a custom link. You're probably asking why use a custom domain or what are the benefits associated with it. So some of the top benefits that come along with using a custom domain are creating recognizable links. Users can easily identify what they're clicking on. It builds brand awareness and you have that brand consistency across all your content when you use a custom domain. The brand is included in all your messaging. It will build trust. We all know in the digital age we live in, building trust with users is very important. So if users can easily identify what the link is by seeing your custom domain, they'll have trust and ultimately you'll have increased engagement to the content you're sharing. So enough about what a custom domain is. You're probably wondering, how do we set one up? So let's see a demo.
Yeah, thank you, Maddie. I'm going to jump right into it. So here I am in my Bitly account. You're probably very familiar with this interface if you've worked in Bitly before, if you're a current or former user. And to get us started, I have just clicked settings on the bottom left and gotten here into my profile. Our custom domain settings are under account settings. I'm going to click custom domains. Now you will see that I am in two different accounts here. I'm in the Bitly corporate account, and I'm also doing a little work for our friend Pablo Bitcasso, who owns a fitness studio for the purposes of this demo. And I'm working on Pablo's custom domain today. Now here to add a domain to this account, easy enough. I just click add a domain. If you have access to a custom domain in Bitly, you have two different ways to get one. You can buy your own, and we're going to walk through that process, or you can get one from us. The benefits of using one that you get through us is it's just 3 or 4 clicks and you're done. It's a little simpler than buying your own. So I just click that, and now I'm going to search. For the purposes of this, I'm just going to search for the word custom domain. And we use that term that you search in there to find different variations that you can buy. So this is one of the reasons you might want to buy your own is you are going to have fewer options within Bitly. We only include custom domains, I believe, to a value of $40, $39 or $40. Whereas when you buy your own, you can spend as much as you want. And some of them are quite expensive. One of the big variations that you'll see between custom domains is the characters after the dot. That is called a top-level domain. You don't have to remember that term, but it is an important thing to know about because you can have a lot of flexibility there. There are a few top-level domains you can't use. For legal reasons, like .ie, the country of Ireland requires that any domains using that top level have something to do with Ireland. So if you have something to do with Ireland, fantastic, you can use it. But for the majority of us, that one's not going to be available. Now, say I want customdomain.wiki, click select, and I would just confirm that, and now it's in my account. I can start using it for all of the links that I create. I'm not going to do that, though, because we are going to buy our own. For the purposes of the demo, I've already bought one, but I will point out here on the Help Center, selfishly pointing to some resources that I've made. We have the Bitly Help Center Guide to Custom Domains. There will be a link to this at the end of the presentation. You can go through here and get these steps so that you can see this all in one place once again. To buy a domain, we have a number of different registrars, there are a number of different registrars available. Our preferred partner is GoDaddy, and I'm going to show the steps today in GoDaddy, but there are a lot of different places you can go to buy one. And the steps, even though I'm going to be showing GoDaddy, are more or less the same. So here I am in my GoDaddy account. I've bought my custom domain already, so I'm just going to go to my products. Now, if you're buying it and doing this immediately, you will be taken immediately into this page. You won't have to do that little click through that I just did. And here I'm going to see everything that I've bought through my registrar, which in this case is just one domain, pablo.fit, that I've gotten for Pablo's Fitness Studio. The second step of adding a custom domain to Bitly is updating what are called your DNS settings. You don't have to remember what DNS stands for, but it is an important acronym because that's the word that you're looking for. I could find it by clicking manage and going through, but GoDaddy has it right here. I'm just going to click right on DNS. Now here in your DNS records, there's a lot of stuff. You don't have to worry about any of it, just your A record. And there's sometimes some data already in there. Sometimes the value in there, it's the word parked. And if it's parked, that means it can't be used. But all you have to do is just remove that word and replace it with the IP addresses that we're going to give you. So here I've got one A record. I'm going to click edit on it. And even though I've done this 1,000 times, I do not know what the IP addresses are, but I have this article. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to copy the first one. And I'm going to put it in here, easy enough. Click save, updating DNS records, and we're good. We do need 2 DNS records. So if you only have one in here by default, not a big deal. It's super easy to just add a second one. You can really add as many as you want, but if you're using it for Bitly, you need two and these two. We're going to take this second one and now adding here an A record at, I'm going to paste in there. And the TTL, you don't have to worry about it. No need to customize that whatsoever. So I've got A, at, and my IP address. Coming back here to confirm A, at, and my IP address. Easy peasy, click save. Updating DNS records again. Success. So we have all of this here. We have those two. I feel good about it. I'm going to go back to my Bitly account, and now we're going to add this. This is the third step. Add a domain. This time I want to use my own domain. I'm going to enter it here. Pablo.fit, remember, it's the one that I'm using for Pablo's Fitness Studio. And there is nothing currently published at this domain. I bought this domain for Bitly to use as my Bitly custom domain. And I'm going to click next. If you're in an account with multiple groups, you have the choice of adding it to all of the groups in your account or just certain ones. In this case, I'm going to click all groups and go ahead. Now, if you do only add it to certain groups and you want to add it to more later on, you can do that in your settings. That's easy enough. And we also have instructions for doing that in the Help Center. I'm going to click next here, though, for all groups. And now, because we updated those IP addresses, Bitly is able to know that the custom domain is from GoDaddy. So those IP addresses, what that does is it makes the domain point to Bitly so that we can do everything that we need to do to turn a long link into a short link. Just in case anything else needs to be tweaked in your GoDaddy settings, we have the instructions here again. I didn't write these, but they are fantastic. I love them. I'm going to scroll all the way to the bottom, though, because we already did it ahead of time, and I'm going to click Add Domain. Now, from here, it needs to verify. So just those settings need to connect to each other from Bitly to GoDaddy and vice versa. This usually takes very little time. It can take as little as a few minutes. It can take up to 24 hours. So if it doesn't happen immediately, don't worry. It will happen within the next day, as long as your IP address set or your A records are pointing to the correct IP addresses. If they're not, we'll send you an email saying that there's been an error, and then you can go into your registrar to correct them. But otherwise, you'll get an email that says, hey, success, you can start making links. So now every time I make a link in the future, I have the choice of using bit.ly or my custom domain so that people know that that link is truly from Pablo's Fitness Studio, not just a random link. So that's pretty much everything that I have to show. It seems really daunting because it's 3 steps. There is a little bit of technical stuff happening with your DNS records, but it's really quite simple. And hopefully this helped. If you need more help in the future as you're getting into this, head over to support.bitly.com and find those resources. It'd be super helpful. And back to you, Maddie.
Wonderful. Thank you for that. Definitely feel like more of an expert when it comes to setting up a custom domain. We figured there are some questions you might have. So these are some of our most common questions we hear when it comes to custom domains. So wanted to run through this before we wrapped up today. So the first is just as a reminder, can I use the same domain as my website for my custom domain? So no, a domain can really only point to one place at once. It can't securely point to 2 different places. The answer is in the second question. Can I use a subdomain as my custom domain? You definitely can. So if you are looking to use a custom domain that does have content tied to it already, a subdomain is going to be the workaround there. So a subdomain is placed in front of the main URL. For example, if we wanted to use bit.ly.com, we can't because that's our homepage. Instead, we could use the subdomain version on.bit.ly.com, on being the subdomain. Next, is there a character limit for custom domains? There actually is. The limit is 32 characters. This will include the dots as well, or dashes. Lots of characters to work with. However, if you're using a subdomain, the characters can add up. So just keep in mind 32 characters, including dots or less. And then finally, can I get a complimentary domain if I'm upgraded to a qualifying plan? Definitely. We've linked the our plans here so you can kind of compare and contrast the different plans we offer. However, if a custom domain is available in the plan that you upgrade to, you can absolutely redeem a complimentary domain. If you have more questions or just want to learn more about custom domains and the Bitly Connections platform as a whole, we've linked some further resources here as well. So we'll have the guide to custom domains that Alex showed us that really is a one-stop shop for everything custom domains. It has everything linked you need to know. We'll also linking the where to buy a custom domain. So we have a list of domain registrars, GoDaddy, and then others. Again, linking the DNS settings. So if you ever need to review or pass along the DNS settings to your web team, you can send this link directly to them. They'll have the DNS settings, the A records, and where they should point listed there. And then finally, you have your bit.ly/here to help is the link to the knowledge base. So what Alex works tirelessly and does a great job managing is our knowledge base. So any questions you have related to Bitly, you can start there within our knowledge base. We also have an app, so feel free to download that in either the App Store or Google Play. If you would like to learn more about the Connections platform as a whole, we do have additional live webinars we run twice a month that you are more than welcome to sign up for. And finally, if your questions cannot be answered in all of the content listed above, you can definitely contact us at bit.ly/is/supportive. We have an excellent support team that is here to help. But that brings us to the end of this deep dive, hoping you're feeling like an expert when it comes to custom domains. Thank you all for joining, and hopefully we'll see you soon.